Would you rather be the best at speaking every language or be the best at playing every instrument? Why? Does either skill require upkeep of any kind? Will these skills diminish if I don't keep them sharp? No, they will be. Pack it up, folks. The comments section has been one. He's a natural. I see what you did there. A true master stroke. I didn't get it. BB equals B flat as opposed to sharp. Sharp equals half step up. Flat equals half step down. I think it's supposed to be B flat because the original post said sharp in their question. Nope. It's magic. These are skills you keep. Thank you. I gave a lengthy answer elsewhere, but I'm leaning languages. Good question. Ooh, that's tough. Speaking every language would be so amazing, because you could communicate with literally anyone. You could talk to anyone on the whole planet, and I bet you could also get a fantastic, well-paid job with that skill. But I don't like people all that much. I'd find it much more personally satisfying to be able to play any instrument. How amazing it would be, to be able to express myself with any instrument that exists. You could also be a musician, and that would be way better for me than being an interpreter. So I'd have to go with that. What instrument do you think you'd play first? Probably the piano. I've always wished I could play. I saved up enough money to buy a solid digital piano and I'm on day 6. I've made okay progression, and even though I'm only playing exercises and scales, I'm so happy. It's such a joy. I hope one day you get the chance to learn, I really do. Might I ask which keyboard you bought? I've been interested in buying one for a while, but don't know at all what I'm looking for. Edit. Wow, I've gotten so many replies. Thank you all so much for your input, as I didn't have anyone else to ask. A lot of people told me to save for the best piano I could afford. 'Cause a crappy instrument is the opposite of a joy to play. Prior music experience taught me that. Lol, I bought the Yamaha P125, 650 used new. It was between that one and the Roland FP30, 700 used. According to Reddit and online reviews, the Roland has a better feel to them, more akin to the ivory keys found on a traditional piano, and to some a better sound and action on the keys. The Yamaha doesn't have textures keys, they are still weighted. Definitely avoid buying a keyboard without weighted keys. For various reasons, it sounds great, and it comes with a USB port to allow for a MIDI connection to my computer for any digital audio workstation. I walked into the store and played individual keys on the P125, and I couldn't find a display on the FP30. Being completely new, I was satisfied with how the P125 felt and sounded, and I am incredibly happy with it. Hopefully, that makes sense. Pretty well thought out, researched, and explained. You clearly care about your newish hobby. I pray that you go far and enjoy the music you play. Never too late to learn, friend. I started playing piano at 38, and 3 years, and I absolutely love it. It's never too late to start, despite what some may say. Language. If it's every language, it means I could speak dead languages and translate some of the oldest texts in the world. That would be super cool. James, I picked the language option all the way. Imagine all the old texts you could translate. Ted, why would you want to translate old texts? James, to learn their secrets. Ted, to gain their wisdom. Imagine if we could decipher Da Vinci's writings. Ted, we can and we have. He wrote in Italian. Also, he made lots of diagrams, so. James, well, I'm not talking about his regular writings, I'm talking about his code. You know, the ancient code of Da Vinci. Ted, James, if you knew all the instruments, you'd be the best musician in the world. You'd be insanely rich and famous. Who gives a crap about some old code? James, oh Ted. You simple, naive, unworldly son of a bitch. You don't think the person who knows the most languages in the world would be more rich and famous than some clarinet sucker? You think diddling some violin is going to impress people more than telling them to F off in Mandarin? Ted, people tell you to F off in Mandarin every time we eat at a Chinese restaurant. James, and I've been impressed every time. Ted, look, I can prove that you'd be more famous as a musician. Let me ask you this: who's the best musician in the world? James Bieber. Ted, right? So wait, what? No, it's not Justin Bieber. James, people like the Biebs. Ted, sure, he's famous, but I'm thinking like Michael Jackson. You know what? It doesn't matter. The point is, you know who Justin Bieber is. Now, do you know who speaks the most languages? James, Jihad Faiza, obviously. Ted, who the hell is that? James, don't act like you don't know the great Faiza. Ted, that can't be right. Alexa. Who speaks the most languages in the world? Alexa, obviously the great Jihad Faiza. Ted, you simple naive unworldly son of a bitch. Ted, did you program her to say that? James, this is the way. Ted, what the hell is Da Vinci's Code anyways? If it's a code, it's not a language, so this wouldn't apply. James, it's less a code per se as much as it is a book. It's written in English, but if I was the best at English, I'd finally understand it. James, you think diddling some violin is going to impress people more than telling them to F off in Mandarin? Ted, people tell you to F off in Mandarin every time we eat at a Chinese restaurant. James, and I've been impressed every time. This had me dying. Same, I audibly laughed at that part in the wait what? After the Bieber mention too. Still smiling about it now. Classic Ted and James. Holy crap, I love this. Are you still active? First I've seen a James and Ted pop up in a long while. Thanks. I've been busy with work, so this has been my first post in a while. I plan to start posting again more frequently though. I always have fun writing these. I've never seen a single one of these until now, and that was really good. I thought you were quoting a movie, honestly. I'm not a huge fan of some of the novelty accounts, but this was good. I agree, this was awesome. What is your novel about? Oh, it's about these two characters named Jamie and Ned. Epping hell. Could you make a subreddit for this? This is the content I come to Reddit for. Ask and you shall receive, r/James and Ted, Reddit link. Epping hilarious. Do you write professionally? Nope. I write a bit in my free time, but it's more of a hobby. You're good at it, man. That was really funny, thanks for the laugh. It only says you could speak them. I don't think you could read the languages, so you wouldn't be able to translate. By speaking them, it would make it relatively easy to then translate them, even if it meant with help from others. Edit. I've gotten several replies about being wrong. You can't translate Chinese by speaking it, that's where the help of others comes in. Cuneiform was translated 150 years ago. Translations are also done through problem solving. That's how the Zodiac Killer's message was translated. By being able to speak a language, it would infer the proper cadence and order that abstract characters are occurring. That alone would be huge for translation. Yeah, like my friend in high school was in Spanish too, and he was fluent in speaking Spanish, but not reading or writing it. Once he learned how to put pen to paper and write what he was saying, he dropped the class second semester. Sorry for obvious question, but why did he drop the class second semester? I think it's because he already knew how to speak, he only needed to learn how to put it on the paper, write the words, verbs, pronouns, etc. When he learned how, there was no point in staying in the class, so he dropped. Or I don't know, he is dead and went, oh crap, I am dead, and dropped out second semester, I don't know. Probably didn't need it anymore, or tested out at that point. Not likely, particularly for languages that aren't written phonetically. Sure, languages that are phonetic you'd probably be able to figure it out just through pattern recognition. But if it uses symbols to represent concepts and ideas, you'd probably be at a loss. And read the Jotun shrines in God of War. As a professional translator with musical aspirations, this is one of the hardest questions for me. Obviously, the languages would make me the most useful person in the office and I'd be set for life, but being able to play every instrument has been a dream of mine since I was a kid, and it would allow me to make all the music I've always wanted to but didn't know anyone with the right skills and interests. I'm also a translator with musical aspirations. You said it way better than I did. Could we split the difference and be the best at 10 important languages and 10 important instruments? You two need to meet up and make a band called Lost in Translation, just saying. Just Saying should be the name of their first album. Can You Hear Me Now is their first top 10 single. Greatest hits album called The Last Word. Just Saying and Playing. If I could give gold for this statement, I would. Edit, my first gold. Thank you, kind sir. Did it for you. Edit, holy cow, you guys are so nice. Thank you. Have you heard the new Lost in Translation, Just Sayin' track? It slaps. I am a world-traveling professional musician. I can play a handful of instruments, but I can only speak one language. To have access to a foreign language while abroad in, say, India, where there are many, would be a superpower. To sing to people in their own tongues everywhere I go would be a treasure to myself and my audience. The absolute hardest and most dangerous part about traveling the world is not knowing the language. So many people keep talking about monetizing either. But the opportunities language would open. To go anywhere and be able to fit in, experience any culture, enjoy any book/song, etc. That's pure freedom. Plus, I think you could make friends very easily. You would be such a novelty wherever you go. People would be amazed how you're better than a native speaker, despite being from another country. I like that when faced with the option of one superhuman power over the other, you pause to consider which might be more useful at the office. Speak every language so I could travel the world. Edit, laughing my butt off. I know I can travel without knowing every language. I just meant it would be easier to do so if I could communicate with everyone. Okay, edit 2. Since people keep replying, I'll just explain myself here. I'm a big people person and love talking to people, so I'd love to be able to go to another country and talk to locals with ease and be able to go past the typical basic conversations. I think it would also help me get to know various cultures better. On a side note, I consume a lot of shows and music from other cultures, and even with translations I miss out on a lot of meaning. Learning more languages would give me more perspective. Less barriers between me and the world. So I guess me wanting to speak every language well goes past my initial travel reasoning. Now please give me a break. I wrote that comment at 4 a.m. laughing out loud. If you're the best at every instrument, doors will certainly open for you to travel the world. Edit, oh my god, please stop responding to this. I put little to no thought into my comments this morning and forgot I even left them. Now I keep getting notifications. I sincerely don't care about this laughing out loud. Edit 2. Well, I don't know what I expected. GIF. So would being well spoken in multiple languages. Yeah, but no one is going to pay you to speak multiple languages on stage. You'll be able to hire a translator so that you can always communicate with people as you tour the world, and in your free time you can absolutely learn any language you want. You could even take classes or hire a teacher. You're the world's greatest musician, damn it. No. But if you're fluent in every language, you'll make bank as a translator without having to perform or deal with the level of constant harassment celebrities get. Instead, you'll just get to meet all kinds of powerful people that can do far more for you than you could do for yourself as a celebrity musician. Since when do translators make bank? It's not bank, but my grandma has been a UN interpreter for the last 40+ years, and she lives extremely comfortably and has traveled the world and met basically every world leader. It's a pretty good life if you're really good at the job. That sounds like an awesome job, but it seems crazy that she has met most of the world leaders. I'm imagining the US representative working with their Spanish translator, then being like, "Hey Mr. Chinese representative, come over here and meet my Spanish translator." Wouldn't her contact be limited to leaders of the countries who speak the language she is translating? I'm curious how that works out. One that could speak every language in terrestrial existence would be quite the high-ticket person, I'd imagine. Imagine you speak every language. And there were powerful people that travel all over the place interacting with people of dozens of nationalities who have to hire trustworthy translators everywhere they go. People like diplomats and heads of state and negotiators for international conglomerates worth billions of dollars. Now suddenly they only need you. One person. One background check. One relationship. That's worth real money. You wouldn't even need to be the actual translator, just someone to verify every translator the people they're meeting with is translating accurately. That's something I've always thought would be the most helpful. Just have your translator sitting quietly in the background verifying that the translations were accurate. Then, after the meeting, they could debrief you on anything they found to be a little off. Yeah, but no one is going to pay you to speak multiple languages on stage. Yeah, that's another reason not to pick the instruments. I don't want to spend the rest of my life on stage. Now I keep getting notifications. I sincerely don't care about this laughing out loud. Just disable inbox replies on this comment. I mean, you still can. Instrument. I am scared of social interaction. Instruments are great to learn if you're averse to social interaction. Also great to learn if you're highly social and want fans the world over. I don't think people realize the significance of this premise. You'd be the very best in the world at every musical instrument. Better than Hendrix, Page, Clapton, SRV, Chuck Berry, David Gilmour, Van Halen, Prince, Mark Knopfler, etc. at the guitar. Better than Mozart, Beethoven, Chopin, Debussy, Thelonious Monk, Keith Jarrett, Duke, Art Tatum, and every 9-year-old prodigy ever at piano. Better than Miles at the trumpet and Coltrane at the sax. Better than Gene Krupa, Stuart Copeland, John Bonham, Danny Carey, Neil Peart, Buddy Rich, etc. at the drums. Better than Les Claypool, Jaco Pastorius, Mingus, Bootsy Collins, Wooten, Cliff Burton, Geddy Lee at the bass. All at the same time. You could easily make it as a studio or live session musician, but if that musical ability came with a bit of songwriting/compositional talent/luck, then you could release some of the greatest music ever. Nobody who has a legitimate discography of some of the greatest music ever remains a nobody for long, especially in the age of the internet. Obviously, one could make an argument that songwriting ability matters far more than raw musicianship, and that person would probably point to artists like the Beatles and Kurt Cobain, who were far from the greatest musicians of their respective ages, or any age, but still managed to write timeless, classic, hit music. But raw musicianship can still go a long way in allowing one to manifest one's creativity. Edit, spelling. I like how from this comment I can tell you have a very good taste in music. You'd be as good a guitar player as the guitar player from Nickelback, or like Eve 6, as good a drummer as the guy from AC/DC, or that guy that lives down the road from me, and as good a bassist as Sid Vicious. Instrument. If you're the best at any instrument, you can monetize that pretty well. Plus, if people pissed you off, you'd be a deft hand with a blunt instrument. Instruments of death are instruments. But unfortunately, I won't be able to play the mayonnaise. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.